what we can take away from female hypergamy and its relation with immigration. What as men, I think is really important to understand is that you really only fall into two camps. And I'm going to make a quick case for this, but to put it quite bluntly, put it quite simply, you're really just either a good time or you are future-proof for her survival. Okay? I mean, it's really that simple. And ideally, you would be both. You know, you'd be both, and she'd consider you an absolute catch. Okay? Now, I'm not saying this to, like, put any more fuel on the fire that is the catastrophe of what the dating scene currently is and what marriage is in the West. But I'm doing this because it's important for us men not to romanticize relationships, not to be too idealistic about this stuff. Like, women are so far ahead in regards to just their basic pragmatism and practicality in relationships that, like, us as men, we need to catch the fuck up. Okay, so I came across this statistic a while ago. It's from the Wall Street Journal poll. It's last year, from a woman between the ages of 18 to 29. All right. Third on the list was immigration for women. And at first I was just like, cool, you know, we might actually share something in common. You know, immigration is a big deal for a lot of conservatives. And just, I would think, you know, just in general, people who just want a regular, healthy country. You know, and well, when you dig into it, let's say the support for Trump immigration, which is basically basic immigration when it comes down to it. Unlike Biden's open border policy, it's literally you don't even call it Trump immigration policies. You just call it basic ass immigration policies. All right, they're against all of it. Like, when you look at the woman and what they're in support of, they're not in support of detain and deport, they're not in support of deploying the troops, and they're not in support of building the wall. Now, what the fuck are they in support of? Open borders. They're in support of immigration. And that had me thinking, why? And when I thought this through, and I quickly related that to my own dating life, and I quickly related that to feminine nature and what the red pill community has to say, I just went back along to refamiliarize myself with hypergamy. And it doesn't take much more. It doesn't take much of a... it's not rocket science to just quickly look at it and remember that women date up the social hierarchy. Up the social hierarchy. They want someone who is stronger than them, sexier than them. They want someone who's better than them. It makes more money than them. Ideally, this is what is an attractive partner. He's funnier than her. He's just cooler than her. He's hotter than her. He has bigger biceps than the rest of them. It just is what it is, right? And then you have the men at the bottom who are basically invisible. They might give them the time of the day because, well, they're getting paid to do so. And I mean, while they're on the job, right? Maybe they're working at Target and they gotta give that guy attention because, well, they're bagging his groceries or something, right? To client, some shit like that. He's part of the church, so, you know, they might amuse the guy for a second. But by and large, that dude, if he's like a 5 and below, most women, you're invisible. You're fucking invisible to them. All right, and then you just pair that with what us guys, us men today already know. But for some reason, it's almost like a surprise still. I'm not quite sure, but in the West, which is the country that everyone wants to come to, is either some countries in the Europeans, or in the Europes, or the United States. In the West, as such, women have the most social power, the most financial power, economic power, and rights and privileges than ever before in human history. And what's hilarious is that they still take that for granted. Even today. It's like this is a given. And it's still it was only a couple years ago that this stuff is getting shoveled down our throats by Hollywood. It's kind of absurd when you think about it. In human history, okay? So you have your own females at home in your country supporting and welcoming men of the entire world to come into the country to potentially, and what I'm thinking is base instinctual subconscious behavior, which is what hypergamy is, just being comfort. It's just what it is. It's a praxeology. It's a study of human nature. At the base of it is the hopes that there is a Filipino Chad that makes his way across the border and meets her at her level. And the hell with all the men in the city, all the men that's already here, all the men that live there, because they're not 7, 8s, and 9s. They don't care. The hell with them. And so that's what I'm saying, to put it quite bluntly. All you are, and I hope it's like you can soften this blow however you want. You can dress it up however you want. At the end of the day, this shouldn't dissuade you from becoming your best self. Yeah, get the bag. Be as hot as fucking possible. Be your best self. You know what I'm saying? They should not dissuade you from being your spiritual best as well. But it's important to recognize you're just a fun time, or you're just there to future-proof her survival at the end of the fucking day. And that will make the entire relationship ongoing forever so much simpler. The moment you start falling off on any of those two important requirements is the moment that you are getting nexted. So think about this, bro. It's the woman in our own culture, in our own society, who don't even think the men at home are good enough. And they are saying, nah, welcome every other Chad that's possible. And so you get basically a scenario in which you have more and more, and this was happening under Biden, you have more and more of a centralized, concentrated amalgamation of mainly men, because that's mainly who was being, those are main immigrants, honestly. It's not like all the women and children are coming over. I mean, for the most part, like, that'd be awesome if it were just all women. Like, I think a lot of guys would be like, yo, fuck yeah, I'm all for immigration, bro. If it was all women coming over, bro, there's not one conservative that'd be like, yo, immigration, bro, we better close up these borders. These hoes ain't welcome. No, it's all dudes. Of course we're pissed, because there's more and more dudes coming over. Now we have to compete with the housing. We have to compete with getting jobs with those same dudes. And that's hilarious. It's fucking hysterical. I'm sorry, but it's just really, really absurd that this isn't just common sense at this point. So I hope that helped. Like, comment, subscribe. You know I'm here for you guys. Let's get this.